Hello, my name is Will Carmack. I am here representing Embrace Tutoring and Educational Services by talking about my process of applying to college. I'll start with my high school experience. I tried to be a really good student in high school, but it's hard to enjoy high school when everyone you go to school with is awful. You know, I actually didn't like the people I went to high school with so much, it made me make a decision that ended up being one of the best decisions I've ever made. My senior year of high school, instead of actually just taking all high school classes and having to be with all of these people, I found out that you could dual enroll in community colleges and take part of your classes at a community college and part of your classes in high school. And I thought to myself, there's a way to get away from all of these people? I'm in. So my senior year of high school, I ended up actually taking all of my classes at a community college instead of having to go to my high school. So I take pride in saying that I didn't step one foot into my high school my senior year. And this was probably the best academic choice I ever made, and I didn't realize it at the time. Because of the way the grades transferred from college classes into high school classes, it would transfer back a letter grade up. So if I got a C in one of my college English classes at the community college, it would transfer to a B in high school. And this is huge. You know, when you take college classes when you're in high school, like AP English, AP History, the only way you actually get that college credit is if you pass the final. If you dual enroll and take classes at a community college, you get those credits no matter what, as long as you pass the entire class, not just the final. Because I took at least 3 college classes while I was in high school, like AP English, AP Math, and one other thing. I failed every single one of the finals, and so for all of those classes, I didn't get any college credit. So by dual enrolling and actually taking real college classes, I would get college credit. This was big. I ended up getting A's and B's in all of my dual enrollment community college classes. And so all of my A's transferred back to A pluses and all of my B's transferred back to A's. And so I finished high school with a 4.7 GPA. And what college is not going to accept a student that has a 4.7 GPA? That's incredible. So by the time I was actually finished with high school, I found myself with this great grade point average. And so now the only thing I needed to do was get good ACT and SAT scores, and I was like, I could apply to any college I want and get in. And so I took the ACT and the SAT, which I highly recommend because some schools value one score over the other. So if you get a good score on both of them, you're set. You're good. So basically, I ended up getting a good grade on the SAT and like an okay grade on the ACT. So I got high school out of the way, I got my ACT and SAT out of the way, and I'm feeling confident. And so now is the really important part, deciding which college to actually apply to. And I ended up only applying to one school, and that was James Madison University. The reason I picked this school was very much the atmosphere of the college. You know, before I chose JMU, I only had visited one other college, and that was VCU in Richmond. And I just didn't feel comfortable there. And I think I was really looking for a place I could call home. And when I got to James Madison University, I was just floored. I thought the campus was beautiful. And I wanted to live in a place that I thought was visually pleasing, because that's just the kind of person I am and what I look for. And so I was walking around campus and I just felt like, yes, this is a pretty place. I could live here. Next, the JMU community prides itself on opening the doors for people. And it was true. Whenever I would walk into the library or the dining halls, people always hold the door open for you. And so I felt welcomed because the people were friendly and the campus was beautiful. Plus they have a film program, which is what I'm gonna major in, and I really liked the program, I really liked the professors, the course load, and so I thought, you know, I'm just gonna apply here. So I put all of my eggs in one basket and I applied only to James Madison University, which, for the record, I don't recommend, because if you don't get in, what are you gonna do? So apply to more colleges because it'll up your chance for actually getting in somewhere. I was just overly confident, and rightfully so, because they accepted my application and I got in. Now, one thing I do think I made a mistake on in having such a high GPA when applying to college is I didn't look up any scholarships. After getting into college, a lot of my friends were talking about how they had a lot of grant money because they applied to scholarships and got in. I asked how they did it and they were like, oh, I just had really good scores in high school. And I had great scores in high school and I never once looked into a scholarship, which I probably could have gotten. I think my biggest mistake in the application process to college is not researching the type of grant money I could get with the scores I got from high school. Embrace Tutoring and Educational Services has provided me with a list to give you of different websites to look for scholarships and grant money. First off, you should check out www.scholarship.com. I mean, pretty straightforward. I bet you could probably find a scholarship there. Next, www.capex.com. I'm sure that's not how you actually say it, but hey, go check it out. You might find grant, www.fastweb.com, and lastly, with the really hip name, www.gocollege.com. So go check out all of these websites because I think they will benefit you. If you do enough research, you could find a way to not have to spend so much money on college. These links will also be in the description below if you want to go do some research on your own. On a quick note, I want to share the anecdote with you when I figured out that I actually got accepted into college. I was working at a Panera Bread, and it was a really slow day, and I got an email from James Madison University. And so I look at my phone, and my heart starts to race because I knew what this email would contain. So I told my coworker, hey, I'm gonna go throw out the trash. So I run out the back, and I walk into the giant dumpster area, which is like closed off by these big walls. And so I'm alone with the dumpsters, and I open the email, and it says, you have been admitted to James Madison University. And I leaned up against the dumpster and I just started tearing up. And so when I figured out that I got into college, I cried with some trash bags. Anyways, now that I got into college and I became a freshman, there's a lot of things I wish I had known once I got into my freshman year that I'm going to share with you. This one's big. It seems like it would be common sense, but it's really hard to actually capitalize on, but that's to be yourself. You know, you are living in a building with all of these cool strangers that you really want to get to know, and some of them may seem cooler than others, and you're gonna want to impress them. When really, your friend group might be in the basement playing chess, or maybe out in the computer labs designing art, but you feel like the people you should associate yourself with are the people who go out to the parties, and you know, they do all the cool things, but it's really not worth it. You know, I tried to do that. I tried to become one of the partiers, and I associated myself with all the people who would go out like every single night. And ultimately, I found myself with a friend group I was unhappy with. Like, I would much rather be in the computer lab with the nerds making digital art, because I'm one of those nerds. Once you get to college, you should really find a solid group of people you feel comfortable with, because you're away from home and you're gonna want that kind of moral support. You know, a next bit of advice that I would say is really important is to stay curious and create things. You know, I found myself a lot once I realized who I wanted to be. I wouldn't go to parties on Saturdays and Fridays. I would stay in and I would create things. I explicitly remember there was one day I was working on a song called The Coffee Song, and there's a part in the song where I talk about bullfrogs for some reason. And I remember being outside on a Saturday night, and I could hear all the parties around me in the area, and I was outside looking for frogs because I needed a frog for this part of my video. And I remember it being really fun. I got a group of people to look for frogs with me. We ended up not finding a frog, but we ended up just going back inside and filming the part anyways without a frog. And so instead of going to a party, I worked on a video and a song with a bunch of my friends. So like, if you just kind of actively work on things that you want to work on with the people you feel like you should be with, you're gonna feel really fulfilled. And that leads me to my next point. What you're passionate about, if you're going to college for it, you should not go at the pace that the college is going to teach you. They're gonna teach you valuable information, yes, but if you're not actively working on yourself outside of class, you're not gonna be the most successful person when you leave college. And by successful, I mean you need to be good at what you do. And if you go at the rate that college is gonna teach you, you're gonna be as good as everyone around you in that same course or major. But if you learn what college is teaching you and outside of class teach yourself, you're gonna be so much more hireable than everyone else around you, because you have your education, but you have your self-practice and like passion projects and actual work that you've done outside of school. Companies and people love that because you can show them your class projects, that's cool, but everyone else you're with can show that same class project. But if you can show the class projects you've worked on, as well as your own projects, maybe even work that you've gotten hired to do outside of class, that's really nice. Looks good on a resume too if your body of work is greater than what school has made you make. Practice makes perfect, and the more you practice outside of school, the greater your chance of finding your dream job. So tip number 3 or 4, I'm not good at math, just always work on the things that you want to do. Because for the record, I graphic design and make videos outside of class every single day. And at this moment, I'm currently designing logos for 2 different companies. I'm making this video for Embrace Tutoring, and for the past week, I've been editing weddings for this production company. And the only way I've been able to obtain these kind of jobs and gigs is because outside of class, I am always working on digital art, film, and just myself. Lastly, and this is gonna be hard to hear, you're gonna gain 15 pounds. You're gonna gain the freshman 15 if you're like me and you neglect your school gym. You're gonna have a lot of nice dining halls that have sticky nuggets and bread and lots of pasta and sandwiches, and you're gonna wanna eat all of them. And if you're like me, you eat all of them. That's bad, you're gonna get fat. Work out. That's my last tip. You need to maintain your health. I know you're gonna be busy with working on things in class and out of class and maintaining your social life and being a college student and not getting any sleep, but you're going to need to, some degree, keep your health and maintain it, because ultimately you can only do what your body allows you to do, and if you keep your body healthy, you can work on anything. So bottom line, my summary for being a freshman in college is to be yourself, maintain your health, and actively create things outside of class. That is what's gonna make you feel satisfied and like you're getting the ultimate college experience. And once again, my name is Will Carmack. This is brought to you by Embrace Tutoring and Educational Services, and good luck with applying to college.